Hi, good morning, everyone. Next slide, please. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here today. Starting off with our agenda, we're going to have an introduction and overview of who San Diego or SD Community Power is, and about our Solar for Our Communities programs, this one referring to as the Solar Advantage program. Next, we're going to go over our request for offer overview for our bidders, so you know how to submit your submittal package. And then we have some general guidelines on the offer development and evaluation. And lastly, we'll close with a Q&A section. Next slide, please. So hello, my name is Tessa Tobar. I am the program lead for the Solar Advantage program. And I will be presenting with Morgan. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tessa. Good morning, everyone. My name is Morgan Adam. I'm the Senior Manager of Local Development here at Community Power, part of our Power Services procurement team. My support of the DAC-GT program is mostly in management of the solicitation process, bid review and evaluation, and award. I will hand it over to you, Vincenzo.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vincenzo Tarantino, Marketing Manager here at San Diego Community Power, and I will be moderating today's webinar.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kate Regal, and I'm a Public Outreach Coordinator here at Community Power. I'm on the Public Affairs team, and today I'm going to be giving a little information on Intro to San Diego Community Power. So we will get started. San Diego Community Power is a community choice aggregator, or CCA for short. We are a not-for-profit public agency formed back in 2019 that initially provided electricity to customers across the cities of San Diego, Chula Vista, Encinitas, La Mesa, and Imperial Beach. In 2023, we enrolled National City as well as the unincorporated communities of San Diego County. And now we are the second largest among 25 operating CCAs in California, serving nearly 1 million customers. We are governed by a board of directors that includes one elected official from each member agency. Community Power was formed to bring cleaner, more renewable power to the region by purchasing energy on behalf of its communities. San Diego Community Power is different from traditional investor-owned utilities in a few ways. One of them is that we do not own or operate the energy grid. All of the power lines and infrastructure is still handled by San Diego Gas and Electric. Instead, Community Power purchases energy by contracting directly with renewable energy providers. This allows us to bring competition and more local control into the energy market, enabling us to negotiate for cleaner and more local energy at competitive rates and reinvest our revenue to community projects, incentives, and programs. All of this work is key in achieving 100% renewable energy by 2035 or sooner. Now I'll pass it to Tessa.
Thank you so much, Kate. So now we're going to get into the part of the presentation, which we will go over what the Solar Advantage program is. But first, we're going to start off with a little bit of background. So regarding the background and timeline, Community Solar's current structure dates back to 2022 with the launch of the Disadvantaged Communities Green Tariff, or what we call the Solar Advantage program, the Community Solar, or CSGT, and the GTSR program. They were operationalized across the state of California and a number of CCAs and IOU territories for one or more of the Green Access programs. So if you've been here before, we've been program administrators since 2023, and we were the program administrators for DAC-GT and what was once CSGT. And with the creation of these green tariff programs, there was a follow-up piece of legislation that mandated a 3-year evaluation structure of the green tariff programs. So the 3-year evaluation cycle recently concluded, and there was a final decision. And that final decision did a couple of things. So again, if you've been here for our first solicitation, this is our second. And the difference between the first and second is that the modified the program structure of DAC-GT and the elimination of CSGT. And we ran one solicitation thus far, which was back in August of 2023. We had it open for 6 months and it closed in February of 2024. Next slide, please. So again, what's new compared to last time? Some other changes in regards to the DAC-GT, or how we call it, the Solar Advantage Program, is that there is new siting requirements. So projects no longer need to be located within a DAC, but rather be at least within 5 miles of a DAC. So we're hoping that this will open up available land for projects. The CPUC is also reassessing the cost cap so that we can pay for projects to increase the viability of bids. And this will take into account more accurate and recent market numbers so that community power may be able to compensate our developers more to incentivize the building projects for this program. It also changed 2 of the solicitation requirements. So although community powers only ran 1 solicitation, now we're required to run 1 solicitation a year, which we will be accomplishing by releasing the 2nd solicitation. And it also allows the inclusion of storage where it hadn't before. And community power has always been interested in pairing our solar assets with storage, so we see these all as beneficial changes. So community power also has the largest megawatt allocation in the state with 20.6 megawatts. And we expect to fill the eligible program capacity allocation over multiple RFOs. This RFO is the 2nd of the Solar Advantage Program, and we will be launching the RFO to go live on March 14th of this year. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but the Solar Advantage brand will be used with our customers. However, since the solicitation materials reference the CPUC approved program DAC-GT, this name is used throughout the presentation and within the solicitation document. Next slide, please. So this is a screenshot of our dedicated webpage for the Solar Advantage program. You'll see the URL highlighted in the top left. You go to the Programs tab and you'll see Solar for Our Communities, which is our overarching brand name. And you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a Are You a Developer box with a hyperlink to register so that you'll be notified of solicitation opportunities, including this one. Next slide, please. So what is the Solar Advantage Program? You had the history and the timeline. This is a California Public Utilities Commission, or CPUC, funded program that we are administrators of. And the CPUC designed this program to increase renewable energy among residential customers that are in disadvantaged communities per Cal Enviro's Green 4.0. It offers 100% renewable energy to residential customers who are eligible for the California Alternate Rates for Energy, or CARE, or the Family Electric Rate Assistance Program, FARA discounted rate. It's intended to provide an additional 20% discount on the electricity and delivery portion of the eligible customers' bills compared to their otherwise applicable tariff. So it's stacked on top of either the CARE discount, which is 30%, or the FARA discount, which is 18% on customers' bills, plus an additional 20%. So we're looking about up to 50% of total customer bill savings once enrolled in this program. Next slide, please. So I mentioned the term disadvantaged communities. This is a Cal Enviro screen map that the CPUC uses, and they define disadvantaged communities as census tracts that either 1, score at or above the 75th percentile in the current Cal EPA Cal Enviro Screen 4.0 on a statewide basis, or are one of the census tracts that scores in the highest 5% of the pollution burden, but does not have an overall score. So for your awareness, Community Power has over 40 eligible census tracts, and they are located in 3 of our member agencies, City of Chula Vista, national city and in the city of San Diego. So before the requirement changed, projects had to be located in a disadvantaged community within our IOU's service territory, or SDG&E. And now project sites can be located within 5 miles of an eligible disadvantaged community, therefore opening the ways of land that's available for these projects. Next slide, please. So because it's a CPUC program, we do have to abide by some requirements. So let's get into that on the next slide. So these are 4 requirements for the CPUC. Solar Advantage eligible customers will receive renewable energy from Renewable Portfolio Standard, or RPS eligible projects located within those 5 miles of a DAC in SDG&E service territory. For the Solar Advantage program, the project size that will be eligible will be between 500 kilowatts and 15 megawatts. And customers will be auto-enrolled upon the Solar Advantage program launch when we get projects online. And again, they'll receive 100% renewable energy and an additional 20% bill discount on their total electricity bill. Next slide, this is a summary of some of the things that we just talked about, but a little more detail is the customers will be enrolled in either CARE and FARA, and we will auto-enroll those customers. The customers must live in San Diego Community Power service territory, but the project can be within 5 miles of a DAC and SDG&E service territory. These are going to be residential customers with our megawatt allocation of around 20 megawatts that can serve about 9,000 households. We are in process of procuring around 4.61 megawatts. So we have 7,000 customers left to serve. And our megawatt allocation size is 20.16. But again, as I mentioned, we're subtracting 4.61 megawatts to that. And the project size of 500 kilowatts, it was 20 megawatts as the maximum. But again, we're shutting that off to 15 megawatts. And the interconnection must be wholesale distribution access tariff. And there is a workforce development requirement as well. So as we carry on, I'm going to pass it over to Morgan Adam to go over the RFO overview for our bidders.
Thank you, Tessa. So a brief overview of the timeline. We are hosting 2 RFO webinars before the solicitation opens, this being the first of 2, and then a second one will be held on Thursday of this week, also starting at 11 a.m. Pacific. The solicitation will open on March 14th. We'll hold another webinar on March 25th. And we'll accept questions through April 15th with plans to post responses to questions by April 28th. The solicitation will be open for a total of 5 months and will close on August 14th. We'll expect to take the next 6 weeks or so as needed to follow up with RFO respondents as necessary, and we'll notify bidders of shortlisting by September 29th. We're expecting approximately 3.5 months to finalize agreements with shortlisted bidders and to secure the necessary board approval. And once that's complete, we'll submit awarded PPAs to the CPUC for approval as the final step. And then just to note, projects are expected to be to reach commercial operation no later than December 31st, 2028. Next slide, please. So some of these have already been covered in earlier slides, eligibility criteria, but just to run through a more complete list here. Projects must be physically located in and connected within SDG&E's service territory and located, sorry, that should say within 5 miles of an eligible DAC. Projects must be a new solar renewable portfolio standard eligible front of the meter generating facility. So behind the meter projects, non-renewable technologies and other technologies are not eligible. Optional configurations that include paired battery energy storage, as Tessa mentioned, will also be considered. We'd like to ensure that we receive solar only proposals as a baseline, but to the extent that sites can support the inclusion of storage as well, of equal nameplate capacity to the PV 4-hour duration battery technology, we would appreciate alternative pricing for this hybrid configuration as well. Projects must have a commercial operation date no later than December 31st, 2028. They should be sized between 500 kilowatts as a minimum, up to 15 megawatts, and projects must all be interconnected under SDG&E's wholesale distribution access tariff. The project must also comply with California Air Resource Board's voluntary renewable electricity program, and the project must qualify as a Solar Advantage or DAC-GT project pursuant to the CPUC documents referenced here. Next slide, please. So for a quick summary of what we're expecting to receive as part of a complete offer package, should be fairly familiar for most of the developers that have bid on other similar projects, whether with us or otherwise. A completed offer workbook. This is an Excel file that captures basic project and development information and details. It would include information I would imagine is familiar to most offerers. Please respond as completely as possible and include supporting documents as appropriate. To run through some of the supporting documents that should be included, please include a site plan and a single line diagram with specifications consistent with what's included in the offer workbook. A financing plan, including any contemplated financing structures, expected financing partners, as well as any baseline assumptions regarding tax credits or other incentives. Financial statements or other documents to illustrate credit worthiness, an org chart that includes any anticipated teaming and financing partner arrangements, and then a description of the interconnection status or approvals if available, and any description of the interconnection plan. Just please be sure to convey an understanding of any potential interconnection risks if there are any. An anticipated project schedule that should include minimally key milestones such as interconnection, design and permitting, procurement timelines, including any long lead equipment, construction and commercial operation, and a permitting plan describing any anticipated permits, both discretionary and ministerial, including the status of any discussions to date with the AHJs. Okay, next slide, please. Right, I'll spend some time discussing how we plan to evaluate offers. Next slide. So first and foremost, all projects must meet the CPUC mandated eligibility requirements as outlined in the solicitation and the referenced CPUC rulings. And then beyond that binary pass-fail of eligibility, Community Power will use the same set of evaluation criteria that's applied to other procurement solicitations outlined in the next slide. And these include both quantitative factors as well as qualitative factors. Offers are reviewed holistically by Community Power staff, as well as a contracts working group made up of Community Power executives and board members. And we will award offers that perform best against the evaluation criteria up to the remaining program capacity for each respective program. So let me run through the evaluation criteria as you see here on the slide here. They're divided into 5 categories. price. This is obviously just a quantitative assessment that considers, the products offered and the economic and regulatory compliance value for community power and our customers. There's also a development score, which considers the experience and the financials of the developer and management team, as well as level of progress towards site control, permitting, interconnection, financing, etc. Community benefits. This considers the level of community outreach and engagement and any other project benefits to the community, whether those are economic, societal, or otherwise. Workforce development. This factor considers whether the offer meets Community Power's inclusive and sustainable workforce policy, and that considers impacts to the local economy and workforce. Examples of some relevant information in this category include, for example, expected number and duration of hires from local workforce, and bidders' commitment to prevailing wage and use of skilled labor. And then final, environmental considerations. This category considers factors such as impacts of land use, whether projects are located on previously developed land, and any environmental mitigation efforts that are anticipated for the project. Next slide, please. And with that, I'll hand it back off to you, Vincenzo. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincenzo. So thank you again, everyone, for attending today. If you didn't have a question that you weren't able to ask or thought about it later, feel free to email me at my email address listed here. It's just ttobar@sdcommunitypower.org. And please remember to make the subject line Pre-RFO Webinar 1 so I can identify them quickly. The answers to your questions will be posted on the website periodically. And the developers that are on the line, please stay up to date by registering for being notified for other project opportunities. And you can do so by visiting the solicitations webpage on Community Power's website or our dedicated Solar for Our Communities webpage regularly for updates as well. We're going to leave this slide up for a bit. This is so you can either contact myself or Morgan Adam about questions. We also have our contact center listed here. If you had any general questions about San Diego Community Power, that would be the appropriate place to go. So you can go ahead and jot those down for another minute or so. The slides will be available as well for your viewing once we conclude our webinars. And with that, I believe we can go to the next slide, which will be me passing it off to Vincenzo.
All right, thank you again, everyone, for attending today. Just want to remind you, if any of your colleagues or anyone else that you think may be interested in this pre-RFO webinar, we will be having another one this Thursday, the 6th at 11 a.m. And we will be posting this recording along with the Q&A from today on the webpage as well. So as a reminder, if you need any refreshers, to please visit, and that will be it. Thank you again, everyone, for your time today.